Hello, friends and family. It is Wednesday night, so or welcome back, whichever. I am Texas Beach Mama, Mama Robin, whichever you prefer. And as I said, it's Wednesday night, so that makes it Watts Wednesday. Um, I've decided to do this live again, like I did last Wednesday. Um, we're gonna get an interesting night, or I find it interesting. It's me. Um, we're gonna go. We're gonna talk about Shanann Watts. We're gonna talk briefly about her before Chris. Okay, so um, we're gonna go way back. Like I said, before Chris, right before Chris, like Facebook. But I'm gonna approach this from a different point of view, I think, than most people approach it from. Most people, when they go back that far back, they want to talk about family dynamics. As I've said once, I've said 1,000 times, I don't agree that family dynamics played that big of a role in her death. I really don't play it. And here's the problem with going that, because we don't really know what happened. None of us know. People tend to use just the videos and some of the discovery to point out problems in the family dynamics, but a lot of it, because we have a lot of videos of her, we don't see a lot of what he was truly like. We only see her videos where she's trying to sell something for the most part. Okay. So that doesn't even give you a good example of the family dynamics, but we're not going to approach it from that point of view. So let me get up front. First of all, this is not educational, it is purely entertainment. And second of all, a lot of it's going to be speculation. And third of all, it's all my opinion. Like, it's just all my opinion, but I want to approach it from a different point of view. Okay. So, as all of us know, or most of us should know by now, Shanann Watts originally met Chris, or Shanann Ruszczyk. I have a hard time with that name. If I'm saying it wrong, I am sorry. I'm not trying to be whatever. So Shanann met Chris, as most of us know, on Facebook. A friend request came in, recommended by a cousin or the wife of a cousin or something. And it's a lot. None of this is notes. It's all what's been sitting in my noggin. Okay, so let's go back. Like I said, she met Chris, Facebook. Okay. Um, the first thing I want to cover is I want to approach this from the point of view of, instead of family dynamics, I want to approach this from the point of view was Chris a narcissist? I truly, wholly, completely believe he was. If you don't, you don't. It's not a big deal. I do. But that's how we're going to approach this from the point of the narcissist. So there's a few things I want to go over for some of you who don't know. First of all, for those who have been in a relationship with one, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, they typically go through cycles. Matter of fact, they typically go, actually not cycles so much as phases. They have love bomb phase, honeymoon phase, the devaluing phase, and a discarding phase. Okay. And then those phases can go in cycles, and those cycles can repeat themselves just over and over and over a period of years. And sometimes a phase will last a week, a month, a year, whatever. It is very dependent upon what he wants and what he's getting from you and how you react to his behavior. So, like I said, each phase can last a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever. But they don't all, I'm not going to sit here and say all of them have all the same phases all the time, because they may not. I'm going to say that most of them have the same phases in order. Love bombing, I lost my honeymoon phase, devaluing, and discarding. It's pretty much how they work. And like I said, each cycle, like each phase, completes a cycle, and that's, hello, Jody. How are you tonight? I hope everybody's doing good. Hope you're doing well. And each cycle I mean, each phase goes through a cycle, and then each cycle can just recycle back through and back through and back through, go on forever. And I was married to one for 11 years. And I know that sounds like a tremendously long time. I didn't realize how bad things were until I was in about 8, 9 years. I just thought they were fights, and I thought he was a mean drunk. I really didn't know the difference. It wasn't until I got divorced and got on with therapy that I realized how bad things really were. I mean, I saw how bad they were, but I didn't. Oh, okay. Well, enjoy your lunch. I hope you're having a good one. Um, so you need to understand the narcissist relationship in order to understand why I'm going this direction with Chris and Shanann. Okay. That's one thing. Another thing you got to learn about narcissists, if you don't know, is when they're looking for a mate, because they're have such a high opinion of themselves. When they're looking for a mate, they're looking for someone they believe to be the best of the best. Now we'll get into NK and yuck and all that later. Right now, I want to get into Shanann. Okay. And when a narcissist picks out a mate, they're basing it solely on looks in the beginning. Then after they talk to them a little bit, they figure out what their weaknesses are. They figure out how to move in. Because the one thing that narcissist needs from her or any person is they need that constant fix. And when I say fix, I'm not talking about drugs. A lot of people go, oh, so they were on drugs. They might have been doing drugs. I don't know. What they're talking about when they say a fix, they're talking about that emotional fix, that emotional thing that they get from other people that they cannot get from themselves because they're narcissistic. Okay. So whether they're narcissistic, borderline personality disorder, no matter what type of narcissist they are, the 4 phases are typically the same. They typically go in the same order. Okay. So let's try to keep this stuff in mind. So let's go back to Shanann. At the time I'm going back to, she was, and if again, since this is all, none of this is notes, it's all from memory. If I miss something, please correct me because I'm bound to make mistakes. I'm bound to say something that I'm remembering incorrectly or something. So say something. Don't. Do I have a ghost? Okay, probably not. Okay. Anyway, so when I say something that's incorrect, just hey, mom, I don't think that's right. Text to speech, mom, I don't think that's good. Okay. Because I'm okay with that. But you got to say something. All right. So this was Facebook time. If I remember right, she had been through a divorce. She was having health challenges, as she called them. So her mental space, her physical space, and her emotional space could not have been good. At that time, when she first met Chris, it probably wasn't very good. It just probably wasn't. Think about the divorce, the fact she was sick all the time. She didn't know what was wrong with her. All that stuff drags you down mentally, physically, emotionally. You're not in a good spot. Because what narcissists have a problem with is when they get an attractive woman that is confident, she knows what she wants, she knows she's on point, she knows she's got her shit together. She's not very easy target. She's not easy to take down. They need somebody that's in a bad spot. It's easier to take that. That's when the love bombing works really good because they're already down. They're already feeling not confident. Okay. So when the first request, she denied it. She was like, not in the mood for this shit. I don't need this shit. I'm trying to get my own crap together. But he asked her a second time. She thought, oh, well, what the hell? It's on Facebook. I got a million Facebook friends. Fine, whatever. So I can almost guarantee how this started out. Now, again, this is just my opinion, and I'm basing this off my own experiences, the things I've read, the videos I've watched, the things she has said, the discovery pages, just everything, better information. But a lot of it comes from my own experiences and the things I've learned in therapy. I've been in therapy 3 years, and most of it was twice a week. It's been a lot. But anyway, So I'm taking my own experiences and the things I've learned about her and the things I know about him, da 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 da, da, and I'm giving my own personal opinion on how this probably worked. And when I say, I'll bet you this is how it worked, that's because I feel that strongly about it. Now, I could be absolutely wrong on how it worked, but based on what I know, this is what I think happened. Okay. So here you have, like I said, you have Shanann. She's on Facebook. The first friend request, he said she denied. The second one, she was like, all right, fine, whatever. I've got a million friends on Facebook. I got this. I'll go ahead and talk to him. It ain't going to amount to nothing. We all know this. So they talked for a little bit. Okay, they talked. As they talked, he started learning things about her. He started learning that her heart and her head weren't in the right place. He started learning that she'd just been through a divorce. He's learned that she's got health problems. She's got health concerns. She's got this and that and the other going on in her life. So all her stuff isn't. She's not on point. She's not feeling confidence. She's not feeling what she needs to feel about herself. She's probably feeling really down. She had a lot going on. We've all seen things about this. So Chris slides in, then he starts talking to her and he starts figuring out her weaknesses. Because that's usually how they work. They like to find somebody that they find attractive. They need to figure out the weaknesses so they know how to play up, so they know what to do. Okay, so as he talks to her, he starts learning about her weaknesses. I guarantee it. Because as they talk and they start getting along, she starts telling him, she starts trusting him, she starts telling him things, maybe even crying on his shoulder. Maybe he was a friend to cry on. That's how mine got me. He was a friend to cry on. He was a friend to cry to. I was a shoulder to cry on. So I'm sure they just kind of chatted a lot on Facebook and talked some on the phone. And he's learning more and more about her. And he's trying to figure out, okay, hello, country sunshine gal. How are you this evening? So as he's talking to her on the phone or Messenger or wherever he's talking to her at, he's learning more about her and he's starting to love bombing and he's starting with the compliments. Oh, you look really good today, and this and that and the other. Well, she's already down and she's already out. She's already depressed about the divorce. She's depressed about her health problems. She's got this going on, that going on, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So he's paying her attention and he's saying things to her that she's not heard in a while, or maybe she's never heard before. I don't know. We don't know how her and her ex. I don't know much about her ex. Most of us don't. So we don't know what she's used to. And from what I could gather with a couple of the interviews with that teacher, first of all, let me say, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's just my opinion. There was something about his interviews with that high school teacher that she confided in a lot. I felt like that teacher was a little bit off, but that's all I'm going to say, because that's all I just felt like he was a little bit off. But whatever. So we know previous to the getting married, the first time she went to a high school teacher to talk to about a lot of her problems. After all that, after she graduated and went to work, had a house built and got married, got divorced, met Chris, da-da-da. So she is down. Because like I said, love bombing typically will not work on a woman that's on point. She's got her shit together. She's right in the heart. She's right in the head. They don't typically work like that. Okay. So as he's talking to her, he's learning her weaknesses. He's talking to her and talking to her and talking to her. He's learning more and more about her. And I can almost guarantee he started love bombing her almost immediately. So he's laying these compliments at her and he's love bombing her and he's making her feel good about herself. And she's all getting all giggly and giddy and shit. And they agree to go on a first date. And that's when she picked that dinner theater thing to go on, where she was wanting to dress up. She was wanting to showcase all of her beauty. She was wanting to showcase her face, her body. She was wanting an excuse to dress up and look great for this man. So she picked this dinner theater thing. And this is the one where he showed up to it like he was going to a Sunday matinee at AMC theaters. But she showed up dressed. She had the hair done. She had the makeup done. She was feeling good about herself. She was feeling on point. This girl was like, I look fine and I know I do. And the more he complimented her, the more it played into her confidence. The more it built her confidence, but at the same time, by the time they build your confidence, they start to tear it down. But whatever. So he's doing the love bombing, and they're going on their dates, and they're talking. And then there was that one date where he sat for 2.5 hours while he had to go pee because she had a migraine and put her head in his lap or some shit. And she thought, oh my God, this is the man for me. I want this man. Okay, I want this man. Because he was love bombing. Hello, Sherry. Hope you're doing well tonight. I hope everybody's doing good. So they're doing the love bombing. He's doing the love bombing, and she's eating it up because she had been through so much. She had already been through so much, and it's making her feel so good because it does. It makes you feel like you're on top. They make you feel like you're on this wonderful pedestal, and it's got rainbows and sunshine and unicorns. It's beautiful and everything. Because that's how this works, is they make you feel really good. When you're down, they take you and they make you feel good. Okay, so they're love bombing, he's love bombing, they're dating, and she's getting all giggly. And well, I mean, maybe I don't know, and we might approach that on another night. Take that as an example. Right now, we're going to work on the narcissistic possibility. Was Chris a narcissist? Okay, so he's love bombing, they're dating, they're getting along, and everything's just whatever. And on the demons thing, Crime Catalyst does a video where she doesn't talk about demons so much, but she talks about the witchcraft and stuff that NK was into. So we might get into that on another night. So Chris the narcissist, so he's love bombing and blah, 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 blah. And she's getting into it. Evil. That is a possibility. So I did read something, and I forgot who showed it to me. I think it was my kid just the other day, and I'm not trying to change the subject. It's still about Chris Watts, but this was in print, and apparently it was a quotation from him. When you said the word evil, it made me think of this quote, and I wish I could knew where it came from. I think it was my kid that showed it to me, but there was a quote that was highlighted, and it was from him, something he said, and he said. He was talking about putting Bella down in the hole. No, not Bella. Celeste down in the hole. And he said, I just put her in there. I felt nothing. Just dropped her in the hole. And then I went back to the truck. I got Bella, and I did the same thing to Bella that I did Celeste. And I dropped her down in the hole. It was the way that was written and the way that it said. I was like, I do have StreamYard, and I'm just got it I got it last week, like Friday. And I'm kind of playing with it, and I'm kind of trying to figure out like how to use it and how to upload videos into it and how to do video clips. So I'm working on it. Hopefully by Friday. I also need to get some editing stuff for my laptop. I actually need a new laptop, but okay, we'll work on this right now. But anyway, so they're dating. He's love bombing. At one point they went through a love bombing phase. Then I can almost guarantee you they went through a honeymoon phase. And then probably at some point between the time they started dating and the time they got married, I will bet you, I have no way of proving this. So, but in my opinion, I'll bet you they had 2 or 3 good arguments. I'm also willing to bet at some point between their dating and them getting married, they had some arguments while he was going through the devaluing phase. They may have even broke up for an hour, like had a bad fight, bad breakup, an hour, 2 hours, maybe overnight, maybe got back together the next day. But I'm willing to bet they even broke up for a little while. And I wish I could find that out for sure. But anyway, as they continue and they probably went through a devaluing phase for a little while. And I think they probably broke up during discarding phase. Okay. So what probably happened, and again, this is all speculation and it's all based on things I've read, personal experience, knowledge, therapy, blah, blah, blah. What I'm willing to bet is at some point they broke up for a little while, even if it was just an hour or two. They probably got in a bad fight, broke up. And the reason why I'm thinking this, I think at some point he started love bombing her again, and that's when they agreed to get married. That's just my opinion. Again, none of this tonight is facts. It's all based on how did my TV switch from? I've got music in the background, and my TV. I had captions on, and my TV just switched to Japanese. Okay. Anyways, nothing to tonight. I'll work on the TV later. So the closed caption switched from English to Japanese. That's Japanese. All right. Well, whatever. I don't know how the TV did it, but it did it because I ain't touched a damn thing. So they're dating, and they probably had their fight. They they get back together. He starts love bombing her. They get back together. They get married, and then while in their honeymoon, they go through a honeymoon phase. Now, at some point, back in the beginning of all this, like I'm talking about, and again, I cannot stress enough. This is just my thoughts, just my opinion. They mean absolutely nothing to anybody else. I'm just spitballing here. Because none of us stop to look, or I'm not going to say none of us. That's not fair. I believe that some people don't stop and look. They stop and look at her and her videos and the things that she did in her videos, and that's what they're basing on. I get that. But how many of us have ever stopped to look? What was he doing that made her? I mean, she didn't just wake up one morning and decide, I'm just going to be a horrible shrew or something. And I'm not even saying that she was. I'm just, for the people that think she was, I don't think she just woke up that way. I know she had been through a lot. As a teenager, I knew she'd been through a lot before she met him. And we know that she comes across as bossy or dominant. I'm not denying any of that. But again, I'm not saying this is a fault. But it made me stop where I'm coming. Why I started thinking about this stuff. I'm sorry, I got my laptop resting on the table and I'm shaking the table. Why I'm going here with all this is because I actually sat here the other night and I thought, okay, she didn't beat him or abuse him or anything. He was an asshole. But we didn't see behind the scenes. I don't believe, as much as she loved him, I don't believe for 1 minute that she just woke up intentionally and said, you know what? I'm going to be a bitch today. She might have, but I don't think so. So it made me start thinking, first of all, I've always thought he was a narcissist anyway, but it made me start thinking, what was he doing? What was his behavior that made her behave that way? Like, what was his behavior? What was he doing behind her? You know what I'm saying? What's he doing behind her that makes her behave the way she does sometimes? Because I definitely don't think it's just her. I think he had a lot to do with it. Again, because I think he's a narcissist. But so they're dating, they get married, and then they move to Colorado. Okay. Since I am basing this on personal experiences, I will be using my own. Hi, Darlene. So glad you came. I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you showed up. We're trying to cover the Watt stuff. We went in the Wayback Machine, but we're already up to when they got married and when, because tonight's going to be just a quick rundown, and then I'm going to start taking sections of it, and we're going to deep dive into each section. But right now, I'm doing a quick rundown of their relationship from the perspective of Chris being a narcissist. Okay. So we're up to the point where they've gotten married and they're still in North Carolina. They haven't moved to Colorado yet. Okay. Now, as I've said before, I believe that, or from my experience, narcissistic relationships have the 4 phases: love bombing, honeymoon phase, devaluing phase and discarding phase. And I believe that each phase can last a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever, depending on many other factors. And I believe that during the beginning of the devaluing phase, I believe they were probably fighting a lot. I believe that at the end of the devaluing phase, when they went into their starting phase, he might have slept on the couch a night or two or whatever, or somewhere else. I don't think this basement sleeping was just all of a sudden. I think that might have been the thing he was doing after the parents moved out. But whenever him and Shanann would fight, I'll just go to the basement for a couple days. I ain't gonna deal with this shit. Now, so like I said, they finally moved to Colorado. They're staying with friends, and she's having her dream house built. Remember, she had a beautiful house in North Carolina that I don't remember if she sold it, if it still sits. I don't remember what happened to it per se. And I know somebody will tell me, so thank you in advance. But what I started to say was, so they're living in Colorado with friends. Now, I can almost guarantee you this much: if he is a narcissist, like I think he is, he was always, always, always on his best behavior in front of the people they were living with. Space is my husband's uncle. Says, and I watched over the years how they do. They start out with the love bombing. It's almost always that is the first phase. There's nothing else before that. After they've hooked you with the love bombing, then you go through a honeymoon phase where you both are feeling happy. You both feel like everything is great. And then when he starts getting tired of you go through a devaluing phase where he gaslights, he picks on you, he's argumentative, you can't do anything right, nothing works. And then they go through a discarding phase where either, in my case, mine would pack shit up, throw it in his truck, and he would be gone for an hour, a day, a week, a month. I mean, that's how that one worked. And I have a feeling they probably went through similar phases. But the one thing I know, if he is a narcissist, and I always thought he was, if he is a narcissist, and I still think he is, not was, is in front of people, in front of friends, family, co-workers, whatever. He was sweet. He was attentive. He did everything he was supposed to do. And behind everyone's back, he was a whole different animal. I know that one from experience myself. So I think while they were living with friends or whatever, he was always well behaved in front of the friends. Now, if they were going through a love bombing phase or a honeymoon phase, he would have been well behaved anyway. And like I said, those phases, whether it's love bombing or any of them, those phases can last a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever. I had love bombing phases with my ex that would last a year, year and a half. Then I would have a honeymoon phase that would last about another 6 months. Then I would have a devaluing phase that would last 3 to 6 months usually. And then we had a discarding phase where he would move out, to pack shit in his truck, move out for a day, a week, a month, whatever. Never more than a month. He was never gone more. Well, one time he was gone for 9 months, but it was supposed to be for work. I don't want to get into that. That was a whole different thing. Besides, we're not talking about my life so much. I am using my life as an example of my experience and where I'm gathering a lot of my thought on this. But okay, so now at this point, they're living in Colorado. They're getting their house built. Now, bear with me. I don't remember if she got pregnant with Bella while she was living with friends or after they were already in their own house. But it was after Bella that her parents moved in. They moved into the basement to help her take care of Bella. You can almost guarantee that after that baby was born, there was more fighting. Yes, they're always right. They're always the one who is wrong. They will never apologize. They won't apologize for a damn thing. They don't feel empathy. And I have had so many people tell me, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, body language experts. I have so many people tell me they don't love anyone. They don't even love their own kids. And I've watched it with my own ex. I've watched the way he treats his own kids. They don't even love, they have empathy, they have no empathy for anyone. They don't love their wife, they don't love their parents, they don't even love their own children. They love no one. They're, or at least if they feel anything for them, it's not in the traditional way that people love. It's in a very narcissistic way. They love them for what they can get from them, for what they can take from them. They don't even love their own kids. I even asked my therapist once, do I said, I don't understand. And I'm going off topic for just a second to kind of explain something. I said, help me understand something. Do they even love their own parents or their own children? And she said this. She said, no, I never examined, your spouse. I don't know anything about him. Yeah, they are disposable. I can make more. Exactly. And that's what she was getting ready to say. She goes, but in a lot of the cases I've seen, when I'm doing marriage counseling or therapy or whatever, they consider their children disposable because they can always make more. If it's a woman, I can make more eggs. If it's a man, I can create more sperm. I can find another mate. I can drop another kid out. It's not that big of a deal to them. He is just indifferent to him. Exactly. So when people go, well, oh my God, how could he kill his own kids? He doesn't give a shit. They simply don't fucking care. They don't give two shits about what happens to that child. And they like to look like a good parent. But even with their own kids, they will tell you how that child has wronged them in so many ways and that they are absolutely right. So going back to Chris and Shanann. Okay, so by this time, let's say we're at a point where Bella's born. Bella has been born, and you can almost guarantee there's fighting. Now, if they're upstairs, that house was big. If they're upstairs in their bedroom and mom and dad are down in the basement, unless they're throwing shit, breaking glasses and shit, mom and dad aren't going to hear them fighting. They're going to be very careful, especially Chris. They're going to be very, very careful to make sure mom and dad does not hear that shit. They're going to very carefully make sure that mom and dad, her mom and dad, does not hear that shit. He doesn't want his mom and dad, he doesn't want her mom and dad to know that they're fighting. And if they do find out, he's going to try his damnedest to make it look like she did it. She started it. She picked on him. Yes, they resent the child. Yes, they do. Oh, him and I never had children together, but I have my two with him. They were 13 and 9, I think, when we moved in with him. And I was still mom. So I was automatically the choice. He would get so mad over that. But again, I digress. So if they were fighting, and I'm pretty sure they were, if they were fighting, he was very, very careful to make sure that her parents didn't hear it unless he could make it her fault. But because her parents have said, to my knowledge, they've always said that they thought Chris was a good guy. If they were fighting, they never knew anything about it. And that's because he was going to be careful about it. So let's say Bella's born. They have their own house. Mom and dad are staying in the basement. They're probably fighting a whole lot more right now. The kid's crying. She's trying to get her on the schedule. She still doesn't feel good half the time. Health challenges, maybe some postpartum depression thrown in there. Mom and dad are living in the basement, and he's done. Like, he's ready to discard again. Probably at some point, maybe in his own way did. And I do believe, if I remember everything right, that's when he started going to the gym a lot. Because after mom and dad moved out, she bought all the gym equipment and put it in the basement. But before they moved out, he was going to the gym. Now, I personally think that's when he met Nikki. That's a theory out there. That's already a common theory out there. But I think that's when he met Nikki. Now, I've heard two good theories on this one. One of them my kid brought to me and said, I think this happened. And how he put it was, I think She was on Facebook. She was following Shanann. She was jealous of Shanann. She wanted to be Shanann. This is my kid who doesn't know anything about this case other than what he hears from me or when I'm doing research or something. So he knows really not very much about this case. He goes, but I think she was watching Shanann on Facebook. I think she was envious of Shanann. She wanted to be like Shanann. She wanted to be beautiful like Shanann. She wanted to do this like Shanann. And then she saw Chris in a video. And then she went, I want that man. I don't look that good, but I bet I can take that man from his girl. I bet I can. And that seems like the type of person she would be. That she would look at him and go, oh, I want that man. That man's mine. I want that man. I ain't near as pretty as she is, but I bet I can take him. I bet I can take him. And there's a lot of women that think like that. To them, it becomes like a challenge almost. I can take that man. I know I can. All right. So that's his theory. And that is a plausible theory. The other theory, the one I was just getting ready to say, is I think they met at the gym. He was going to the gym a lot. Like I said, there was baby at home. Baby was crying. Mom was depressed. Parents were in the house. Da-da-da-da-da. Now, I know they had some getaway time. They went on some Lavelle Thrive vacations or whatever. They had some time alone. But when there wasn't that time, and that would have been either a love bombing phase or a honeymoon phase, but during the devaluing phase or discarding phase, there was fighting. And after the fighting, I almost guaranteed that's when he started going to the gym, partly to get into shape because he probably didn't like the way his fat ass looked in a tank top. But not just that. Not just that. He needed out of the house. He needed away from Shanann, Bella, the parents. He wanted out of the damn house once in a while. And you know what? I'm not saying that he's in the right. But if you flip this around and you look at it from his perspective, I can see in his mind how he might have wanted out of the house once in a while. I mean, I'm sure there was times when my kids were little, I probably wanted out of the house. I didn't say that I didn't love my kids. I'm just saying that sometimes it can be overwhelming. And for somebody like Chris, who doesn't give two shits about the kids anyway, does not care about the kids to start with, that a new baby in the house is extra stress. And then if you already don't give a fuck, it's just more stress, more anger, more frustration, more this, more that. So yeah, I think he started going to the gym at that time. And I think that's how he met Nikki. Maybe he's in the gym one night and he's lifting weights and shit. And he's feeling himself like, I'm good. I'm lifting weights. Look at me. I'm buff. I'm beautiful. And Tricky Nikki walks in the door and she sees him from afar and she thinks, oh, I like that man. I like that man. So maybe she nods at him and maybe they start exchanging glances and then occasionally start, having small talk there at the gym or maybe go out for a cup of coffee. And there was a time that he was running a lot with one of his friends. I don't think he was, me personally, no proof. I personally don't think he was running all the time. I think he was meeting up with her because I don't believe they met at work. I have never believed that they met at work. They seemed to already have too much going on. Work just made it more convenient. So whether she saw him on Facebook in a video and decided, I want that man, I want her man, or she saw him in the gym and said, I want that man. I'm going to get that man. You wait, you see, I'm going to get that man. Because I don't have a mom body. I have a single woman's body. I ugly as shit, and I have an ugly personality, but I want, she wanted that man. So, she wanted that man. Whether she, like I said, no matter how she met him, she made up her mind she wanted him. And that would explain the early on searches for Shanann and shit. That would explain a lot of that. That would. Okay, it just went from American to Japanese and back to American on its own. Don't know. Don't care. It's not my business. It ain't a ghost. It's messed up TV. I've watched many of the home videos based on how he interacts with his daughters, and I don't think he ever bonded with them. I think that is something I was kind of getting to. So back to Chris and Shanann. So they would go through their phases, the love bombing, the honeymoon, the devaluing. And devaluing is like when he's doing the gaslighting and the you can't do anything right and blah, blah, blah. And she was probably getting bitchy back because she was domineering. I mean, I'm not putting her down for that. I'm a mouth. I can be domineering. I can be pushy, but it's about me knowing what the hell I want out of life. I don't know. But I can also be soft, sweet, sensitive, and so could she. And she loved those children. I don't care what anybody says about her parenting skills. While they might not have been the greatest, she loved her kids, and I'll stand by that one too. Um, so at some point, she's got Celeste. I mean, she's got Bella, and she finds out she's pregnant with Celeste. Now, that's something else I wanted to bring about narcissists. They usually have two ways of control: financial, which is how mine controlled me, and children. Because they figure they're betting on if you've got kids with him, you're not as likely to leave. They're betting on the fact that if you've got children with them. Now, I'm not saying she didn't want the kids, but she didn't think she could have kids. So the idea of getting pregnant, as much as she loves her children, probably was not the forefront of her mind because she didn't think she could have kids. I'm also willing to bet in private conversations it was mostly his idea for each child, because that's one of the two ways they tend to control. They either are going to control you financially, like mine did me. Mine wouldn't let me have a job. Mine wouldn't let me have a car. Mine wouldn't let me go anywhere. And in the beginning, because I had worked my entire life before him, I worked my ass off. I never saw my kids when they were little because I was always working because their dad wouldn't. I worked my butt off. I worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week. My only day off was Sunday, and my family usually came and got them on Sundays to spend Sundays with them. So I hardly ever saw my kids when they were little. Do I regret it? Yes. But when my ex came into my life, he was like, "Oh no, you get with me. You get with me. You won't have to work. You won't have to do anything. You won't have to do anything. All you got to do is stay home and take care of your kids and clean the house." And because I had worked so much and because I had spent so time away from my kids, I was grateful. I felt like, woohoo, I get to stay home. I get to clean house and watch kids. And I finally did bond with my kids. I did spend more time with them. So in some ways, I was grateful. And when it would come to me wanting a car, he'd be like, "Well, we ain't got the money right now." We never had the money for me to get a car. But when it would come to me whining about a car, he'd be like, "Well, I don't have the money right now to buy you one, but you can borrow my truck. Borrow my truck whenever you want." I couldn't borrow it whenever I wanted, but I did borrow it some. And then when it come to me, why don't you let me get out and get a job, and I save up the money? I can help pay the bills, and we can save up the money for a second car. "Oh no, I don't want you working. You've worked your butt off your entire life. It's time for you to rest." But heaven help me if the housework wasn't done. Not the point. So that's one way of control is financial. The other way of control is kids. If you are pregnant and you have little ones, you're not as likely. I'm not saying women don't go. I'm saying they're not as likely to go with little ones. Excuse me. So I'm willing to bet that even though she loved those kids and she wanted them herself, she didn't think she could have kids. So I'm willing to bet with every conversation about having kids, he started it. He talked her into Bella. He talked her into Celeste. And we all know from everything that we've read, text messages and everything else, he's the one that asked for the third kid. Okay? So that is a form of manipulation and control. If you're a narcissist, if you're a loving person and you wanted kids together with your spouse, that's one thing. But if you're a narcissist, you did not want those kids. You wanted her to have the kids so we would keep her at home so you could continue getting your fix, so you could continue getting the emotional fix that you need, because that's what they like to do. Okay, so he talks to her and Bella. Fighting gets better. They go through another love bombing, blah, blah, blah. They go through the phases again. Because I'm telling you right now, all 4 of those phases was just a continuing cycle, immediately one after another. So you go through, you're going through the phases. You're happy 1 minute, you're happy for a day, you're happy for a month, you're happy for a week, you're happy for whatever. You're happy for a year, or you're fighting for a few months and whatever. But it's not just the up and down flow of a normal relationship. It's an endless vicious cycle until the discarding phase becomes a more permanent phase. And in their case, it went from being a night or two on the couch to possibly moving into the basement to just being done. But let's back it up. Let's back it up. Let's back it up. So you have a potential narcissist, and you have Shanann. And like I said, during the love bombing phase and the honeymoon phase, he's feeding her all the he's feeding her all everything. He's giving her all the compliments. He's giving her the compliments. It's Japanese again. He's giving her the compliments. He's giving her the attention. He's telling her how beautiful she is. I love you, boo. You're my life. You're my everything. These kids are my life. They're my everything. They weren't. But you go and you do the things that you're supposed to do. You do the things that you think a dad is supposed to do, or that you think a husband is supposed to do, because you don't know, you don't feel love the way you're supposed to feel love. You need that emotional fix, but you're not feeling love the way you're supposed to feel it. So you're not feeling love the way you're supposed to feel it. So you're just mimicking, or you're mirroring what you think you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So they have Bella, they have Celeste. He brings up a third kid. He talks her into a third kid. But by this time, Tricky Nikki has already started her job where you work. Maybe you've been seeing her at the gym now and then. Maybe you and her exchange glances. Maybe you and her have even had some short encounters like, hi, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. How's the wife? Whatever. But now she's at work. And now you see her all the time. But you just talked your wife into having a third kid. And now you don't even want the wife anymore. Because now you see a new emotional supply. You see somebody that, according to his words, talks to him. This emotional supply talks to him. She asks him questions. She values his opinion. She flirts with him. She gives him all the things that he didn't feel like he was getting anymore. Whether he was or wasn't getting them is not the point. He did not feel like he was getting them anymore. He didn't feel like he was getting what he needed from her anymore. And this girl at work, was giving him the things that he wanted and he needed. So here he is. He's got himself in a pickle now. He has already talked the wife into the third baby. And he's already started, as soon as he talked to her about it, he's already met Nikki. He's already working things out with Nikki. He's already telling her what she wants to hear. And she's going to him, oh, Chris, you're so smart. Oh, Chris, you're so handsome. Oh, Chris, I want your opinion. Oh, Chris this and oh, Chris that. And he's getting all this emotional supply from her. He's getting high off her shit. So he doesn't even want the wife anymore. But now she's pregnant. So now what the fuck does he do? He's like, all right, I got this. I'm smart, because that's another thing. They think they're smarter than everybody. He's thinking, okay, I got a wife I don't want. I got a new supply. I like her. But the wife I don't want's already pregnant. So what am I to do? You know what? I'm a smart man. I got this. I'm going to handle both of them at the same time. I can keep playing up to Boo over here, and I can keep seeing this one. I can keep getting my candy over here and go home to my steak and potatoes. So he's doing all this. He's gone, and they're all this cycle. They're going through all their phases. Like I said, their phases are going to be an endless cycle of shit. While he's over there trying to light Nikki's fire with ice cream and lollipops and cookies and whatever the fuck else he said. I don't remember now. So he's reached a point where he talked the wife into it. He's got 2 kids. He talked the wife into a 3rd kid because he thought he needed the wife there for his emotional needs. But now he's found a new fix. He doesn't want the wife or the kids anymore. But now, fuck, she's engaged and she's pregnant again. What the fuck am I supposed to do? So he's doing all this and he's trying to wine and dine Nikki, and he's getting further and further and further away from his wife and kids. He's drawing more away from them and going more towards Nikki. Now, they wouldn't have worked either, but he's in prison now, so whatever. But he's doing all this with them. So now he's trying to figure out, how am I going to make this work? What am I going to do? So I can guarantee he's picking more fights with Shanann. He's picking more fights with Shanann. He's doing his best. And she's doing her best to keep her shit together, to do her videos, to sell her Thrive, to bring that money in, to do this, that, and the other. Because around all this, with all her surgeries and the kids' hospital stays and the credit card bills and the student loans and everything else, their financial world is crumbling around them. So that's one more stress on him. So not only does he not want the wife and kids anymore, and he's got a new emotional fix, but his financial world is falling apart. And of course, even if it's not all her fault or any of it's her fault or whatever part's her fault, he's going to put all of that on her. He's going to shove all that on to her. Everything is Shanann's fault. The finances are her fault. The kids not doing what they're supposed to is his fault. The school costing too much is his fault. Even if he agreed to it, even if he asked for it, it's still going to put on her. And the other thing he's doing, we knew from listening to interviews that his parents, Ronnie and Cindy, they didn't like Shanann from the get-go anyway. But I'll tell you something else he's doing. I guarantee he's done it. And I've seen it happen too many times. Every time he has a fight with Shanann, every fight he has, or maybe not every fight, but most every fight, he has a fight with Shanann. He's getting a hold of his dad. He's getting his dad on the phone, and he's complaining to his dad about it. And he's making it sound like it's all Shanann's fault and none of it's his fault. He hasn't done a damn thing wrong. He's just been his sweet, lovable little self. And she's such a bitch, and she does everything wrong. And the mom and dad are already buying because they didn't like her anyway. So you got him crying in dad's ear almost every night. My wife doesn't love me. She doesn't understand me. Shanann's at the bench. Blah, blah, blah. And the kids are driving me. Whatever the fuck it is he says. So dad's then getting off the phone and he's giving his interpretation of the conversation to mom. And mom's like, well, I knew she was a bitch. I never liked her anyway. She made fun of our baby's hair. She didn't like the way he wore his hair. So I don't like that bitch anyway. So you know damn good and well that's what she's doing. She's sitting up there in that living room. I didn't like her anyway. She doesn't like my baby's hair. She made fun of his hair. Well, big fucking deal. She made fun of his hair. But whatever. I digress. So from the narcissistic point of view, he's on the phone complaining to his mom or his dad, whoever, his sister, about what a horrible bitch she is, and they didn't like her anyway, and da-da-da-da-da. So we've gone into the part where they're fighting more often. She's pregnant with the third. He doesn't want the third now. He doesn't want the two. He doesn't want the wife. He's got his... He probably did complain to his parents, and they went and questioned all because they basically... Yeah. So, and I, like I said, I've either experienced this myself or I've seen it happen. And that's usually how it works. So you, like I said, you got him going... Shanann did this, and Shanann did that, and Shanann did that. And they're going, oh, poor baby. We know what she is. We know what she's like. She didn't like your hair. I don't know why when she said that bothered me so much, but that bothered me a lot. Well, she didn't even like, she would always tell me how she didn't like Chris. She didn't like the way he wore his hair. And I thought, I would think to myself, is that your biggest problem? Is she complained about his hair once? She said he was like a skater boy. That's it. That's of all the things a spouse can do wrong, that's your bitching and complaining. Is she didn't like his hair? Oh, for fuck's sake, lady, get a grip. But again, she was probably going through all the things. They were always going through things. Now he's got, like, guys, let me get back on track. So he's got Nikki. He's got Nikki. He's got his new supply, his new attention, his new everything. And he doesn't want the old supply. He doesn't want the kids. And he definitely doesn't want this new one. And then you got Nikki. And I think Nikki's a little bit crazy too. So basically you got two crazy people. Oh, Lord, I don't even want to touch that. But you got Nikki, and she'd already made up her mind a long time ago when she saw Chris, whether it was in a video, whether it was at the gym, even if it was at work, she made up her mind she wanted Chris. That man is fine. She wants that man, and she's going to take that man, and she's going to do everything she can to take that man. So they're fighting more, and I believe at some point, I think that they're fighting more had a lot to do with her going to North Carolina for 6 weeks. I think that's a big reason why they went. I think they decided, and there's no proof of this. I think she decided, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I think we need a break. I think we need a break. I think I need to go visit my family. I'll go visit your family. They'll give them a chance to get to know the kids. I think you need to stay here. I think you need to think. I think I need to go there, and we need to get away from each other for a little bit. And I think that later on, you can come and join us. And he was probably like, yeah, I'm really busy right now at work, so this would be a good time to wrap up work, get work done, and then maybe towards, maybe I can come see you later. All right. So I think that was really, I think that we're going through a devaluing or discarding cycle. And I think that's what prompted the trip to North Carolina. I think that's probably what prompted it. I don't think there was all the reason. First of all, there's no way of knowing any of this. This is all speculation. But I think that's a lot to do with why she left and why she was gone so long. I think she thought, well, give me a chance to think. It'll give him a chance to think. It'll give the family a chance to see the grandkids. Be a nice summer break, and then we can meet up later. I really do. I think that's why. So I think they did that. I think she thought, you know what? I will go to North Carolina for a little while. Well, what she didn't know was he was already seeing Nikki. So in his mind, I'm like, oh, shit. While the wife is away, the husband will play. So he saw himself, hey, I'm a single man. I'm a single man. I can go to the races or Speedway or whatever it was. The races, the Speedway. I can go to the car museum. We can go to the sand dunes. We can go have fun. Because Nicole, the whole time that Shanann was gone, Nicole was working on I got 6 weeks. I have got 6 weeks while this woman's gone to make this man completely forget about his wife and kids, not realizing that he didn't give two shits about him anyway. So she thought she had some competition there. She thought, okay, I can never, ever Tricky Nikki. That's right. I really do. I think Tricky Nikki is a very good name for her. I think that Tricky Nikki had decided, okay, I got 6 weeks. I need to make this man mine in 6 weeks. I don't have a minute to waste. I've got to lay on the charm, the sex, the drug magic, the witchery, whatever the fuck she was using to get him. I don't think she cared. I think she was going to get him at any cost. I think she'd made up her mind. She wanted everything that Shanann had. She couldn't have her looks. She didn't have her personality, and she didn't have her intelligence. But she was going to use everything she did have to steal him away. And what she didn't realize is because he was already done with Shanann, she didn't need the looks. She didn't need the personality. She didn't need the intelligence. She didn't need the drive. She didn't need the ambition. because he was already tired of her anyway, It's Tricky Nikki says, I got 6 weeks. I've got to make this man mine in 6 weeks. I gotta do everything I can, whether it was sex magic, drugs, whatever was in her bag of tricks. She had to use that 6 weeks to her advantage and drive him as far away from Shanann as he could. So while she's sitting here later on in the future and she's telling the police, I didn't even know they were married. I didn't know he had kids until Father's Day. I didn't know this and I didn't know that. Bullshit. She knew it all and she knew it from the damn beginning. Because like I said, I feel like they either met at the gym and talked a little bit, or they meant like she saw one of Shanann's videos, saw Chris on a video, and went, oh, hell, I got to have that. That's mine. That's mine. Want that man, that's mine. So she used those 6 weeks with whatever it is, with demons, Satan, witch magic, sex magic, drugs, out, whatever the fuck it was, she used it all. Everything she could pull out of her bag of tricks. She was pulling shit, throwing on the wall and seeing if it sticks. That sticks, let's go. Sending him pictures, sending him nudes, sending him bikini pictures. Everybody loves that brown bikini. Sending him whatever. And she's doing all this while part of this was while he was in North Carolina trying to make things work with his wife and kids. Pisses me off. So anyway, while he's supposedly trying to make this work or trying to end it or whatever it was he was supposed to be doing, Tricky Nikki was shopping for jewelry and shit for her while he's on vacation with his wife. Good Lord. So I think at the end of the 6 weeks, after he'd come back and then she had to go to Arizona for a work trip or whatever, I think that's when they had that talk. I think that talk to the lazy dog was about, okay, we have been together for 6 weeks and you have seen how wonderful things can get. You have seen how good I treat you compared to her. She treats you like shit. She bitches you all the time. You got those kids to worry about, blah, 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 blah. I can give you a better life. I can give you this. I can give you that. I can make your life wonderful. You'll love it with me. Little does she know that have they gotten together and stayed together, he might have killed her later. I mean, who the fuck knows? But anyway, so I think that long talk, I think that discussion at the Lazy Dog was part of that. And then I think that 111 phone call was all right. Now I've told you, I've talked to you earlier and I told you what I can give you. Now we're down to the wire. Your wife is going to be home at 2 a.m. or whatever time she was supposed to be home. And your wife is coming home and I need to know what's going on. I need to know where we stand. I need to know if you are into me as I am to you. I will give you everything. I will give you the world, but you cannot keep her or those kids. Because while people have speculated, well, he intended to keep those kids, I don't think so. I have said all along, I don't think so. I have said all along that I think the kids were always disposable. Because I think his original plan was to get rid of the wife and the kids and make it look like Shanann got mad and took the kids and left. I have said all along that way that he gets all the, oh, poor Chris, poor baby. Your wife left you and she took those kids. Shame on her. Shame on that bitch for leaving you. I think that's what he planned on. I think he planned on getting all the poor Chris, all poor baby, blah, blah, blah. And I think he was going to act like in public that I just met Nikki at work. See, I know Nikki from work. I'm going to start, now that Shanann's gone and has been for a week, I'm going to start dating Nikki now. See, I just met her at work and we're going to start dating now. I think that was his plan. All along, I think that was his plan to say, hey, I just met this girl at work. Ain't she cute? Ain't she sweet? His mom wouldn't have liked her either. His mom wouldn't have liked anybody. She especially hated Shanann, but she wouldn't have liked Nikki either. She might have at first, but after a while, she wouldn't have liked Nikki. She wouldn't have liked Nikki. Because Nikki would have then, at some point, once she had that ring on her finger and had moved into that apartment or the house or whatever they were going to do, once that ring was on her finger, she was going to start making demands. She was going to start telling him what she wanted. She was going to make Shanann look quiet. She was going to do everything she could to change shit around once she got in her house and she got that ring on her finger. Maybe she would have waited till she got pregnant with a boy or whatever her hell her plan was. But I think she would have changed shit up on him quick. And I think that might have been what ended her. Just saying. I don't think it would have gone that way. I don't know. But because I totally believe with all my heart, always have, always will, that he is a narcissist. I don't know what type of narcissist. I don't know if he's covert, malignant. What, there's like 6 of them, 6 different subgenres of narcissism. Whatever it was, I believe he's a narcissist. I believe with all my heart he was. I believe that he either A, would have left her once he found a different supply, or B, he might have killed her and I don't know, shit. But I do believe the whole plan was to make it look like Shanann left, she got mad, she left, she took the kids, and he could just start dating Nikki. Well, I met Nikki at work. Ain't she wonderful? Look at that brown bikini she's wearing. It matches the house. So I think that's where they were going with this. I think that everything led up to that point. I think it got to a point when she got home, they had that conversation. She had said something to the effect of, dude, we have been together for 6 weeks and we have been phenomenal, but we cannot continue this relationship with your wife around. You have to do something with Shanann. You have to get rid of Shanann. Shanann has to go, and ring of honesty, those kids have got to go too. And we can make it look like she ran off. Because in Dylan's book, which I bring up a few times, I've brought up quite a few times, because I actually believe, even though Chris lied to Dylan a lot, I think he was more honest with Dylan than he was with anybody else. I don't think he's ever going to be 100% honest, but I do feel like he was more honest with Dylan. That's just my thought. That's just my feeling. And I have nothing to back it up. But back to the book. There was even a conversation about that. About Nikki, him calling Nikki after he killed Shanann, going, well, if Shanann's dead, what am I supposed to do? And she's like, well, you got to get rid of the kids. But if you get rid of the kids, I love you and I will marry you. I will marry you. And I will make this right. But you got to take the kids to work with you. And that's probably why she wanted a picture. I mean, I don't know. Some of this is complete speculation. Some of it's based on video. Some of it's based on interviews. Some of it's based on the discovery, which I hate getting that damn thing out because 1900 and some odd pages of stuff that can be so complicated to read sometimes. But I will get it out every once in a while when I feel like I need to. But that pretty much winds up where I was going. We started with Shanann at the beginning. We started with how she was down. She was depressed. She was not right in her head. She wasn't right in her heart. She had stress and emotional problems from the divorce. She had physical problems. She had all kinds of things going on. I think he stepped into her life. I think he love bombed her. I think he gave her back her confidence. I think he said all those sweet nothings. I think he gave her everything she wanted. And I think that's how he got her. And I think how he kept her was the kids. And then I think when he was done, he was done. I think he was done. Just, I'm done. Because she did. And he tried to get rid of the kids. Who else talked about this? It was just not me that's just talked about this. About 2 other content creators have talked about the oxycodone or Oxycontin, because I get them confused. So please don't come at me. I know they're very similarly related to each other. Oxycodone and Oxycontin are different, but not that different. In my opinion, Chris is definitely a covert narcissist, and yes, Nikki did ask him, send her a pic, prove he worked that day. Why? Well, to prove that he was there, that he had taken the kids there or something. That's my theory as to why she asked for that picture that day. Because she had told him, according to Dylan's book, she had told him, you have to take the kids with you to work. And to make sure that he did take the kids, he had to take a picture. That doesn't make full sense, though, either. I'm kind of seeing the holes in that theory myself. As I'm saying it, I'm seeing the holes in that theory. That's the best theory I have on that, is She wanted proof that he was there. She told him to take the kids to work. She told him to dispose of the kids there. And he took a picture to prove he was there. But I do see holes in that theory as I'm saying it. But it's the best theory I've got for that one. I'm sorry. And that's something else. Whether you're talking about it from narcissistic terms or family dynamics or whatever you're doing with it, since we don't have all the facts, because we don't have all the facts, and because we're never going to have all the facts, never, it's never going to happen. We're never going to have all the facts. We don't know the full story. We never will know the full story because he is never going to tell the whole truth. If they placed him in front of a firing squad and said, you tell us everything, but he would just rattle off some shit to save his own ass. So it wouldn't make any difference anyway. He would just rattle off whatever sounded good. Narcissist. That's the only theory I got on the picture. I mean, as I said, I do see the holes in it. As I say it, as the words come out of my mouth, I see the holes. That's the only reason I can think of why he would want that picture. It kind of explains the picture, why she wanted the picture, but it kind of doesn't. So maybe we can work together on that one. I don't know. But you have all the narcissistic things behind the relationship, because I don't believe for 1 minute that she wanted to be, and forgive me, I'm not picking on Shanann. Don't anybody take it that way. I'm just using things other people said. I don't think she wanted to be the bitch. I don't think she wanted to be the nag. I think she got tired of his shit sometimes. Because sometimes it might not have been about getting him to help because she just simply wanted him to help her because, you know, he was being a good dad. I think it was sometimes telling him what to do, because if she didn't tell him what to do, he wouldn't do anything. Like, I'm just under the impression that basically if she didn't say, get the clothes out of the dryer, hang the kids' clothes up, whatever, bring me a glass of wine, bring me my face mask, I don't think he would have done anything had she not said it. Like, I don't think he would have just voluntarily got up of his ass and did shit. I think she had to tell him what to do to get him to do anything. I don't think she just woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be a bitch and a nag today. I don't think that's how that freaking works. It didn't work that way with me. I turned into the person I am because of the years of abuse. But I don't think, I think that was part of the reason why she got the way she got with him at times, was because she got tired of his shit. Like, he wouldn't do anything. That's why she was doing, get me my face mask, get me this. Because if she didn't say anything, he didn't do it. He just didn't do anything. I think he was happy just sitting, watching TV or working out and thumb up his butt or something. I don't know. He just, every time I look at him, that's what I see. I see a man that just kind of doesn't give a shit. He breathes. He exists. Come here, Duchess. My dog's strolling into. Come here. Come here. Quit being shy with me today. She's a big dog, but she's very shy. When she thinks I'm talking to people on camera, I know she doesn't know what I'm doing, but when she hears me doing this, she gets kind of approached. She gets kind of weird. She's a Great Pyrenees mix. She's bigger. Her name is Duchess. I've done a few videos with both dogs. But anyway, so I think that's why she got the way she got. I think that's why she seemed bossy, because if she didn't tell him what to do, he didn't do anything. That's just my approach on it. So I think we're about to wrap this up. I did say I would go back to the beginning, and I did. I started it before, but I want to do something more in depth. Like, I want to take Shanann before she knew Chris, Shanann when she started dating Chris, Shanann right after they got married while they were still in North Carolina, you know, why after they moved to Colorado. I want to take sections of each thing I mentioned, and I want to do a deep dive into each section. So y'all need to let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Like, do you want me to take their life in sections? Like, just literally take a section of her life. Shanann after her divorce before Chris. Shanann when her and Chris started dating. Shanann right after they got married. Shanann and Chris after Bella was born. Shanann and Chris after Cece. I want to take sections of their life and just take one section, and I want to do a deep dive into each section. And eventually we're going to get into the Chris and Nikki stuff, and we'll do a deep dive into those. But if that sounds interesting to anybody, I want you to let me know in the comments. All I did tonight was I took a basic rundown of their relationship from Facebook to Shanann's death. I took just a basic rundown and I covered it from the perspective of Chris being a narcissist. That was my whole intention. I did gloss over some shit. I moved over some of it. I didn't bring up dates. I didn't go into details. I covered they met, they dated, they got married, they had kids, he had an affair, she died. So that's what I want to do. I want to take sections and I want to go into each section and I want to talk about each section on Wednesday nights. As I've said before, we might learn some stuff. We might remember some stuff. Oh, I was talking about something else before the dog walked in. That's where I was going. Behind Criminal Minds and Unapologetically Me True Crime have both talked about the same thing I've talked about. His sister Jamie giving Chris Oxycontin or oxycodone. I'm not the only person that has, and there was somebody else before me that said it, and I think it was Crime Catalyst, which doesn't get discussed enough. It doesn't. There was a conversation, and I can't remember now if it was, I think it was a jail conversation between Jamie and Chris, where they talk about the oxycodone. But it's not just me that has said it now. It was one person, at least one person before me. Behind Criminal Minds talked about it, and so does Unapologetically Me True Crime. Darlene knows who I'm talking about. I'm sure the rest of you have heard of her too. If you haven't, she's got a great channel. Deep Dive sounds good, and if you're interested in where Shanann was born, I grew up in the same town in New Jersey. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. What I want from you, Cindy, is I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to type in my email address that's connected to my YouTube, and I want you to send me the information that you have on that. As little or as much. I'm a ditz. I'm old. Where's the dot? I hunt and peck. I've always done that. There it is. TexasWildfire@gmail.com. Anybody that has questions, comments, or something, or they want to just talk to me about the case, or they just want to shoot the shit about another case, that's my email. Take that down. Send me information. I'll look for it. I think I want to deep dive into sections. I think this Friday night we're still going to get into the Lady Bird Lake, although nothing new has happened. I don't know, because there's nothing new going on right now with Menendez, and there's nothing new really on Lady Bird Lake. I mean, we really have discussed. The only reason why I keep wanting to show videos is because there's been interviews with family members that I think you guys would benefit from seeing. But I think all the interviews I have are basically the same information that I've already given you. So while I want to do more with Lady Bird Lake, there's not a lot more I can do. Like, I'm at a point now where I'm like, not a lot I can do. So we might do that this Friday night. Like I said, there's nothing new. Thank you. That way, any information you have or you want to send me, you can. And that goes for anybody else watching. If y'all got questions about a case, you want me to discuss something else, you want to give me input on something, want to talk to me about true crime in general, That's what that is for. That is exactly what that's for. Just want to shoot the shit about true crime. I've got tons of cases, and anybody that's watched me on Friday Night Live watched me go off on one of my tangents. I've got tons and tons and tons of information in here. I am 60 years old, and I have been studying true crime since I was like 16. I've got shit up here that I could talk to you about for days. We've talked about all kinds of cases on Friday nights. I've just gone off on tangents, talked about various shit. So that's for anybody that wants it for information they want to give me, things they want to discuss with me, whatever. It's up to you. So anyway, next Wednesday night, we will start with, I guess we'll start with Shanann after her divorce, but before she met Chris. I want to know, and that's something else. If anybody can help me with information, if anybody knows stuff about Shanann, like before she met Chris, I want to know more about what Shanann was like before Chris, possibly goes far back as before her divorce from the first husband, what she was like as a teenager, what she was like in high school. I want to know more about her. And I know y'all can get mad at me for this, and I'm sorry. I kind of want to know more about him. I want to know what led him to be the narcissistic asshole that he became. I'm kind of thinking it was his mom. And I'm not trying to throw rocks at Cindy or anything. Not her number one fan, but I'm also not trying to be mean to her. But it came from somewhere. He just didn't wake up one day as an infant, a little boy, or a teenager and say, you know what? I'm going to be a narcissistic dick today. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. No. That's not how that shit works. So because that's not how that shit works, I kind of want to know a little bit about him. I might do a little bit of a deep dive on him, what he was like growing up. I want to know more about what Shanann was like growing up. I want to really get into some good deep dives about both these people and their relationship. And then I kind of want to get into Nikki a little bit because she does play a role in this. As much as we don't like her ugly face, her brown bikini, her damn giggle, or anything else, I want to know about Tricky Nikki. I want to know what led her down her path. I want to know why she became the person she became. That's one of the main reasons I took psychology in school. Because the human mind entices me. It makes me think. It makes me go, why did these people do this? Why is this person behaving this way? Why did Charles Manson become the person he became? Why did Billy the Kid become the person? It's that kind of stuff that intrigues me. That's why I started doing this stuff. That's why I took psychology classes every chance I've taken. Every time I could take a psychology class, I've taken one. You would think with those psychology classes, I would have known the red flags from my birth. And I probably saw them all. And I probably did like most women. I probably ignored them. Like, oh, this shit ain't going to happen to me. I'm too smart. So anyway, Friday night might be about the Lady Bird Lake stuff if I can dig up more information, and still have not heard from anybody I'm trying to talk to. I would think that Ford Sanders, being on TikTok and everywhere else, he would, and his channel only got like 163 subscribers, and I've only got 500. My point on that being is I would think with him being a small channel and me being a small channel, he'd be more willing to help me. But either he's not seen it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard from him yet. I really want to talk to him. So I haven't decided what Friday night's going to be. It could be more Lady Bird Lake. It could be. There's another case I heard something about the other day that I'm getting information on. We might talk about a new case altogether. But starting Wednesday, we're going to start with a deep dive on Shanann. I don't know if we're going to talk about anything I can find about Shanann, pretty much from high school days until she met Chris. So that's next Wednesday. In the meantime, I have run my mouth for an hour and a half. People have come and gone. Because I'm watching but I've got almost as many likes right now as I do people, so that's good. We're gonna start with Shanann next Wednesday. We're gonna get in deep dive into just Shanann, not Shanann and Chris. I want to know more about Shanann. And then Friday night, like I said, it could be Lady Bird Lake. It could be this new case. It could be, I don't know. I don't know what Friday night's going to be, but it will be at 9 because the couple of people that voted from 9 o'clock. So it'll be 9 o'clock Friday. If it's your birthday, your anniversary, happy birthday, happy anniversary. I want you to be good to yourselves, be good to people in chat, be good to each other, make good choices. I think that's it. I think I've said everything I can. I think my brain is empty now. I think it's done. I think it's over and done with. And I want everybody to have a beautiful, blessed night. I want everybody to be safe. For my one Australia person, if you're still on here, it's in the afternoon for you now. Enjoy your evening. Everybody have a good night. I love everybody, and we're family. We're Mama's family. That's what I'm gonna. If I start selling memberships eventually, when I start figuring out what I'm gonna do, it'd be Mama's family. We're all Mom's family. There's a double meaning in there. Anybody that grew up in the 70s should know the second meaning to that. But if you don't, you don't. It's not a big deal. Anyway, y'all have a beautiful and blessed night. I'm gonna call it a day, and everybody take care.